We are back for 2026. Eurovision 2026 is heading to Vienna. Eurovision is back. Hello, Emily.
Hello, nice to be back. Feel like we've
Very.
just not spoken to each other for like a year now.
That's
But we're
it. We
back
kind of
again.
forget that anything exists and life happens outside of it. But here we are, we're back, and we're starting a new round, the sixth year of the channel, with one of the big bookies' favorites, Greece. But are we feeling greased up to slide into the 2026 season? I don't know. I should have thought about the pun before I sat down to record this. Anyway, let's review Eurovision. Yes, so welcome back, Emily. Are you looking forward to the 2026?
I'm really excited for this year. I feel like there's been a lot of a lot of stuff that has happened over the last year in terms of Eurovision, a lot of
Oh
kind of
yeah.
controversy, which I feel like has been hashed and rehashed. uh, over the past year. So I don't think we particularly need to kind of go into it. I think, it's obviously a much kind of smaller, well, not much smaller, but definitely a smaller kind of contest this year. We've got big countries not taking part, but I think it'll still be a good year. Um, but
Yeah, I
what?
would second that. I think it's the smallest contest in terms of number of acts since the semi-finals were introduced. So this is, smallest contest in 20 years, but actually there are some pretty good entries this year. And among them, the bookies certainly think is Greece. Akylas with Ferto is one of the bookies' favorites, one of the big fan favorites as well. The Greeks always really, really get behind Eurovision, and they've had a solid few years. This is the first time they've gone for a national final in a little while as well, and it's produced, I suppose, the Greek take on the sorts of not saying chaotic entries. Let's go for the kind of what the wave of entries that Cha 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 ushered in. This is a very Greek take on it. So Ferto is the entry. What do you make of it, Emily?
I I remember the first time I listened to it, I was not keen because I remember I'd seen it all kind of like basically it was at like the top of the bookies at the time, and I'd just gone, I don't get it. And then on a kind of second listen, I think I'd listened to it rather than watch the video. I think on a second listen and watch of the video at the same time, it starts to make a lot more sense. So I think it's really fun. I like because a lot of these kind of more kind of wacky entries can feel very kind of generic and not particularly tailored to a particular country. I feel like this feels Greek, which really helps. I think when you've got the kind of like video game fun in the video, that feels like something that could translate really well on stage. So I can kind of completely see why it's one of the favorites, and it feels like one of those kind of wacky entries that's actually had a bit of thought behind it. So yeah, I am a fan of Greece's entry this year.
Yeah, bizarrely, I've had almost the exact same journey. When I first heard it, and I mean, this is the sixth year of doing the channel. I've lost count of the number of times I talk about first impressions because they do matter at Eurovision. Most people watching it on the night have never heard these entries before. My first impression of this was not very good because I thought it was too much. It was too chaotic. It was kind of baby lasagna slash carrier on steroids, and I just thought it was a little bit much. But then after I maybe a bit later than second listen that you had, it did hit me, and I much prefer even today. I much prefer listening to it than I do watching it because I just think it's a bit. The performance could do with a little bit of refining, and Greece. They can be very miss with staging, but they can also be very hit. Like when Greece gets staging right, whoo, it's up there, and it was the staging of something like Zari a few years ago. I was not a massive fan of the song before the contest. Saw the performance live in Malmo, and I was like, okay, sudden, I get it, I get it. They know what they and that's like the glitchiness of that performance. I think you don't want to copy it for this, but it would semi apply
I
to.
think so as well. There's so many kind of like particularly it feels like there's something where it could be like really like stroby when you get the Ferto, Ferto, Ferto. I'm not going to try sing it. But I like it feels like that chorus that like would marry really well with some like kind of really like jarring stroby stuff. I just had to go on mute because the ice cream man was coming down my road, as he likes to do every day now. It's clearly the season. Um,
Really? Well, to be fair, an ice cream sound effect would not sound that. out of place in the Greek entry, bizarrely.
No.
So he could have kept it on.
So
He could
throw
have,
the kitchen sink at it, guys.
but yeah, I think, and similarly on your point, it is very Greek, and part of, I suppose, my issue with, I mean, I did like Cha Cha Cha, and I'm not saying these are all exactly the same songs, but they're all kind of the same ilk. There is something a bit wacky to use your word. There is something wacky of this genre of music. But what I think everything since Cha 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 has been missing is a sense that it actually is representing a place. Because Cha 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 was in Finnish. You had a character that Carrier was playing here, and you bought into it. Whereas Baby Lasagna, I mean, we're singing in English. I know a lot. I still am not a fan of Rim Tim Taggy Dim, but a lot of people do love it.
Yeah,
It could
sorry,
be from,
strong disagree.
yeah,
It's
strongly disagree. But it could be from anywhere is the issue. And espresso macchiato, which I still think is
yeah,
sinister, that could
agree.
be from anywhere. Windows 95 Man could be from anywhere. This, other than Cyprus, you could only really get Greece sending this. And that's, I actually think in the wacky genre, this is probably now my favorite since Cha Cha Cha, because you do buy into it. There is a character about it that a lot of these sorts of entries don't have. So yeah, I'm a big fan. Having not been initially, I'm a very, very big fan of it. Well, Greece is performing in the very first semi-final. It's performing fourth. I think maybe running order is less of an issue this year because the semi-finals are so short. There's only 15 songs. So you're four in, but you're also 11 from the end. So maybe, and the return of the juries this year may also. I think I personally think this will sail through anyway. But the juries is a factor that we've not had to contend with the last few years. So I mean, what do you think are its qualification chances? How do you think it would do in the final?
Yeah, no, I think they're bringing juries back to the semi-final. I think that's a bit. We should discuss actually how we feel about that because like we obviously know kind of the issue that it's wanting to address by doing that, but I just also don't really think it's going to make that much of a difference. I don't think it would have made any difference last year to what to countries and entries that went through. So I see why they're trying to do it, but as a kind of point, I don't. It's kind of tinkering around the edges rather than actually like doing anything to address some of the issues last year. But yeah, I mean, it'll obviously sail through. In terms of how it actually does in the final, I think this is probably top five. I don't think it's a winner, but I think it's top five. I think it's going to be Greece's kind of best finishing entry for a number of years.
Yeah, I think on the juries in the semi-final point, I think yeah, there is something that they're trying to address, but that only really becomes an issue in the final in particular. I mean, it's no coincidence. Let's call the elephant in the room here. Ukraine and Israel won the two semi-finals last year, and by literally no metric were they the best songs. So I think they're kind of it's trying to just make it a little bit fairer, I guess, and sort of take some of the the the, the national support out of it, I suppose. But then again, I think the last 3 years where we've had televote only semi-finals have produced the three best final lineups. So actually, maybe we do trust the people to vote the right songs in. I don't really know. I think either way, this will sail through, and I think this will get. Cha 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 got good jury support. Rim Tim Taggy Dim got good jury support. This being wacky is not necessarily the anchor to jury support that we would have thought maybe 5 or 6 years ago. To the extent that I don't see this being a very high scoring year by any means. I think it'll be the winner will be kind of a Duncan
Thinly
Lawrence
spread,
game.
yeah.
A bit like last year, it'll be very thinly spread. And I can see this being a kind of a Duncan Lawrence scenario where the winner comes third or fourth with both and then sort of accidentally wins. And I think this could do it. I think it's top five almost certainly, but there's a universe where this sort of almost wins by accident because it's popular with the juries, it's popular with the televote, not accidentally wins because I think it would not be not it would not be an undeserving winner, but I think it will be a surprise winner. But I can see it doing it.
Interesting. I wouldn't be surprised if it wins as well. It does feel like one of those years where there's just quite a few different entries that could squeak it essentially. But yeah.
Bit time for the big reveal. Let's see what our scores are. First scores of 2026. Emily, out of 10, What are you giving the Greek entry?
So, my score for Greece this year is an 8.5. So, pretty high. Um, yeah, I'm a fan.
Yeah, we'll go similar. I'm going to give it an 8 because I think it's just fun. It's a few weeks ago when I first heard it, wouldn't have been an 8. It has grown on me, and as I say, I would not be shocked if this ends up winning. We'll see. Famous last words. Anyway, that is it for our very, very first video of 2026. Thank you so much for watching. If you are joining us for the first time, well, thank you for joining us. Make sure you follow, and if you do, hit the bell. You'll get notified every time we upload new content. We're also in vodcast form, so wherever you get your podcast, you can listen to us, watch us over there as well. And we're also on Instagram, etc. I mean, you know all of that. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.